Hey guys! I've got some thrilling news that many of you have been waiting to hear for months. Handy Drums version 2.0 is here. This is a major update on which we worked on for an entire year, working long hours, weekends, and holidays to bring it to you. The version 2 of Handy Drums is packed with improvements right across the board and introduces several significant new features. They sound better, look better, and are easier to use than ever before. There's a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Aesthetical improvements. You will notice a refreshed look of the main graphic user interface. The entire interface is now fully vectorized, so everything will look pixel perfect regardless of the screen resolution or the zoom factor. The updated pencil artwork sketches are finally doing the plugins some justice. Sound improvements. Remixed and rebranded. The John Bonham style kit was remixed from the ground up to sound nicer and more versatile. From now on, it will be known as the Rock Legend. We also added a strainer-off snare drum with a separate rim shot. If you haven't yet checked it out, this will be a perfect time as this kit packs plenty of character and will lend itself to a variety of musical situations. The second remixed kit is the Studio Legend. It sounds more natural now and it will fit into a mix better than before. Most instruments in Handy Drums version 2 play samples at random instead of round robin, without repeating the same sample sequentially. This manner of sample triggering generates more variations for an even more natural performance. The hi-hats in Studio Legend and Studio Standard now sound fuller and more natural, and hi-hats in Reggae Standard sound tighter in tightly closed position. The sophisticated variable hats. We have taken our unique variable hi-hats to another level by developing sophisticated algorithms that closely mimic the performance of real hi-hats. This is as close as it gets to playing the real thing on electronic hat pads. The foot controller sending the CC4 now resembles a real hi-hat action. But benefits of this new system are not limited to e-drummers. The hi-hat is usually the weakest spot in virtual drums, and a clear giveaway that sample drums are playing. That is not the case with Handy Drums version 2.0. This is what a sample hi-hat sounds like when being choked. The sound is unnatural killed as a clear giveaway of sample cymbals. Now listen to our new hi-hats and what they sound like when choked. They sound just like the real thing. And depending on how quickly the CC4 controller moves, the hi-hats will output a different sound, just like the real thing. This was the final missing piece of the puzzle that is now complete. Handy Drums version 2 will allow you to create drum parts that are more realistic than ever. New instrument additions. We added several instruments to the Latin percussion and drums, doubling the previous number of instruments and articulations. The new instruments are 3 bata drums, a tambora, Peruvian cajon, 3 panderetas, mambo bell, cajita, vibroslap, and the resampled timbales. The World Percussion plugin now has an additional higher-pitched djembe with full articulations. The Reggae Standard now sports a high timbale as well. We replaced the crashes and the ride cymbal in the Vintage Standard with nicer sounding ones. Functionality and usability improvements. The mixer. Solo buttons. The mixer now sports solo buttons and existing mute buttons. Since they are laid one under the other, you can easily see what is solo and muted at a glance. You can toggle off all solo and mute buttons simultaneously with the main buttons on the right when any mute or solo button is enabled. Panners. Above each slider is now a panner. But unlike regular panners, these are combined panners that maintain the integrity of the original samples. Both channels get blended to one as you move the sliders. There are 3 panning states: regular left to right, stereo swap right to left, and mono. Individual element mixers. For those of you who wanted more control over individual elements, such as the separate volume of cross stick versus snare head, look closely at those dots above some channels. Click on any of them and you will gain access to the individual components mixers. All separate component mixers have a slider, signal indicator, mute, panner, and pan state selection. Multiple outputs times 16. We've increased the number of outputs to 16 stereo outs from the previous 8. The mapping panel. Drum pads. The mapping panel may seem the same at first glance, but it is now equipped with dynamic drum pads for each sound included in the plugin. Hovering over any instrument names will reveal the drum pads, and clicking on them from left to right will play the samples of that instrument at the lowest to highest velocity. Blank mapping. When you scroll down, you will find 16 blank mapping keys, allowing you to assign multiple keys to a single instrument. This was one of the most requested features by keyboard players who wished to play snare rolls on multiple keys. They also come with a strike to learn function, so assigning keys is a breeze. And if you want to start fresh, you can recall a blank preset from the preset manager. Pitch tuning. You may have noticed the tuning fork icon at the top of this panel. Clicking on it will present you with knobs to tweak the pitch of all included instruments. You can go up or down 6 semitones. But remember that this is a basic pitch shifting that affects the length of the samples. So the further away you go from the original, the more drastic the change to the instrument's character will be. Use in moderation. E-drummer mode. We made a special mode for drummers who play our instruments using electronic drums that tailors the plugin with a button switch. The E-drummer mode can be engaged from the mapping panel or the settings panel, which contains several other options. When toggled on, several things happen. The snare drum splits into rimshot on E1 and head on D1. A dedicated algorithm is engaged that enables you to play foot splashes with the action of the hi-hat foot controller. If your drum module supports only a single zone ride, you can toggle a switch to play both the regular ride and ride bell on a single zone, depending on the velocity. In addition to dual zone hi-hat pad, you can use a single zone pad to play variable hats. Variable hats for standard GM drum loops. Regular general MIDI drum loops can only have either closed or open hats. But in Handy Drums version 2.0, with a simple button switch, you can turn those regular hi-hats into variable hi-hats, allowing you to go from the tightly closed to fully open in increments. This will breathe new life into your existing collection of GM drum loops, a unique feature found only in Handy Drums. We've left the most prominent and significant feature for last, the MIDI loop browser. Since almost all DAWs lack a MIDI browsing function, this feature will transform how you interact with Handy Drums and make the whole process a breeze. Quickly browse and audition any MIDI loops on your computer from within the plugin or the standalone app. When you find what you want, simply drag the loop onto your DAW's timeline to quickly assemble complete drum tracks. The built-in player can sync with your DAW, so you can audition how various grooves work with your existing arrangements. Handy Drums now ship with a limited selection of MIDI loops instantly accessible within all Handy Drums plugins you have installed in your system. If you have MIDI loops scattered around your computer, you can bookmark all your locations with a simple click for immediate access. Handy Grooves integration. We cleaned up, re-exported, reorganized, and repackaged all Handy Grooves, our comprehensive loop packs. Handy Grooves now come with installers that place the loops in the location instantly accessible within all Handy Drums plugins. No longer will you wonder where you extracted the loops. This will be a game changer for using Handy Drums and Handy Grooves.
There you have it! Handy Drums version 2 are not only more powerful and better sounding, but also much easier to use. If you own Handy Drums version 1, we have very attractive upgrade options for individual plugins and the producer collection. When you log into the GoranGrooves library, the upgrade discounts will automatically apply to your cart based on your previous purchases. And if you haven't yet experienced Handy Drums for yourself, there's no better time than now. Get a free trial to discover why our rapidly growing user base is raving about Handy Drums and why you'll get far better results in a fraction of the time than with any other virtual drum plugin. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep grooving.
For more information on new features, see our website tutorials section or watch our relevant videos.